Join me in the pledge, please.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Approval of the June 1st, 2026 meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second. All in favor? Approval of claims.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I will second that. All in favor? Dusty?
So we had one of our big culverts on Pleasant Grove Road fail. I ordered one of them. It's gonna have to be made, so it'll probably take 2 or 3, 4 weeks to get here. We've still been chip and seal them. Today we finished up Rosenberger, Vernon, Matthews Road, then we started on Montgomery. We're still mowing roadsides in between chip and seal. And we did have all 3 of our mowing tractors broke down. We got 2 back on the road last week. And we're still running the 2 long arms too to help keep mowing caught up. Our 2 new Peterbilt trucks, 7 and 8, we're hoping to pick them back up shortly. They had to go in for warranty issues. And we also have, remember the flood damage we had on Bulger Tap? I got engineering going on that, and they're wanting to know the timeline to bid that project out. If we want to do it here shortly, or I got the money to pay for the engineering side, but I don't have the money to pay for the work to be done. Which it's a 77-foot repair. They haven't got me a rough estimate yet, but I don't think it'll be too long. And 75% of that will be reimbursed through FEMA as well.
Okay. So what's the mower's cost? Because if I remember right, you said you haven't bought new ones for quite some time.
8 years.
What's ballpark?
I would have to look. It was around 70,000, but that was 8 years ago.
Okay.
I'll look them up and get back with you.
And then what's the gasoline tax update of?
Jenny's been putting all that information in. We got 3 years. We're going back.
Well, no, I'm sorry. The suspension.
Oh, for the suspension.
Yeah.
It's up to 3 months now. They think he's gonna go 4, but we're waiting to see if our money's come in. So we know what the kit's gonna be. This check we're getting next should let us know what it's gonna be.
Okay.
And that usually comes around anywhere from now.
Yeah, I put it in today. It was a little bit up, actually. And
Was it?
I just went back to January, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
What's that estimated to cost us?
Anywhere from 2 to 300,000.
I should have sent it to you, sorry.
What Dusty's talking about is the governor suspended the gasoline tax, state tax in Indiana, as you all know. And that's fine for us, saving 10 cents or so a gallon. It's gonna cost Switzerland County $200,000 to $300,000 in fuel, because that's where our money comes from. So that's what Dusty's talking about right now.
And then to add to help offset more in the future, Jenny and Dusty are working on the gasoline tax or gasoline cost refund that you can go back 3 years.
Yes,
And
but
that's ballpark 15,000 a year.
No.
no, I don't think so.
Where we differ from the school a little bit, it depends on what vehicle you're putting
Okay.
on there. We can put all of our vehicles, equipment and all that, but they're only a certain percentage, like, what is the dump trucks, like 20-some% you get back?
That's the highest one.
Okay,
Yeah,
At least
so-
we're going to be getting something.
Yeah, we'll
Yeah.
definitely get something. And back to our Boulder tap slip, do we want to go ahead and have them advertise that for bid, or do we want to wait?
Yeah, it needs to happen, so I would say.
So I'll get
Probably good to advertise and get it out
I'll
there.
get with engineering and have them go ahead and get it ready for bid.
Yeah.
I think that's all I got. If y'all got anything else?
Let's see. New business, safe passage. Now, here's the bad news tonight. Commissioner Peters is out of the country. And obviously, I sit on the board of directors for safe passage, so I would have to recuse myself from any voting. So you could certainly read to us, and then they would not be able to cast a vote for 2 weeks from today. Because there's only 2 of us here.
No problem. So if you guys recall, I was here earlier this year making our annual request for funding out of Switzerland County. We have 5 of the 6 counties that we serve secured for a portion of funding support. And back earlier in the year, we were not as sure what to expect from the projected federal funding cut that we received. We just got that information within this last week. And we were expecting up to a 40% cut, and we actually got a 23% cut. So we are in a little better shape than we originally anticipated when we came in earlier for funding support. So we've been able to come back and decrease the request from earlier this year. So I'm not sure if you guys want me to go back into all of the services that we provide. We are the domestic and sexual violence, both intervention and prevention service. The request that we have prepared shows and outlines the number of Switzerland County residents that we serve. But we're just coming back in, having already presented, requesting a lower amount for this year.
Yeah, like you said, in 2 weeks, we'll be able to vote on it.
Perfect.
I appreciate what you guys do.
Thank you. And I always end with this, but you are more than welcome to come up and at least our base operations that are in Ripley County. We have an emergency shelter at that location, and I would love to host any of you that would be interested in touring to see kind of what our mission does in action. So that's kind of a standing invitation, so just let me know.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gary. Oh, SIRPC. Hello.
Hi, how are you all?
Good, you?
Good.
I'm gonna take one of those and pass those, please. I'm here to update. It's been a while since I've been here about the comprehensive plan that you were all interested in applying for to the Office of Community and Rural Affairs for a grant to help fund that. As you recall, or may recall, to qualify that, the community has to be low to moderate income. It didn't meet the census requirement for that, but we did apply to Okra for a request to do what's called an income survey. And if they believe your data is close to being, that census data isn't always the most accurate. So they do allow you, and they did approve for Switzerland County to do an income survey. So with the help of Sarah Brickdoe, we collected addresses for all the counties, including the rentals, and that's the hard part. So we got all the addresses, got the approval to do the income survey, and the income survey was sent out last week, and they are to randomly selected households within the county. So that went out. We expect those results to start coming in with the next couple weeks. We're hoping that we get enough back. We don't have to do another mailing, but sometimes we have to do repeat mailing. So within a month and a half, we should know what the results of that income survey are. But in the meantime, kind of Okra's timeline for applying, they have 3 quarters. We've missed the first quarter. Second quarter is coming up shortly. Normally there's 4 quarters in a year, but Okra only has 3 quarters for planning. So the third, which would be the one that I think most aligns with the time frame we're looking at for your all's comp plan, would be applying with the final grant application is due, I believe, November 1st. I even put that on there. I think I forgot. But the round opens in October, and the grant application is due November. Prior to that, there's several different things that have to happen. The biggest of that being that you need to organize a committee. And I talked to Herschel, and you've kind of had a committee that will be responsible for selecting the firm to do the comprehensive plan. Usually 3 to 5 people are on that. Make sure you just have county representation. It doesn't have to be a commissioner or council, but make sure the county is represented. That process, once we advertise, you take 30 days basically to allow those proposals to be prepared and submitted. Once they're submitted, then they score them to determine, it's based on qualifications, to determine who you would like to interview. You need to interview at least 2 firms. So if you get 2, you need to interview both of them. If you only get 1, and hopefully they'll let us write a letter and say you're okay with that firm if you're okay with them. If you get 5, you can score them down. You can interview as many as you want, but they like you to at least interview 2. So that same scoring committee needs to score them and interview them. Then once they're selected, that'll be the firm that we put in the grant application. They'll do a draft contract. Will be the grant application that will do the comprehensive plan for you. So that all has to be done up front before you even apply. Last time I checked, your population was 6,625, which allows you to qualify for $60,000. The threshold's 10,000, so you're just barely over it. So that gives you an extra $10,000 to work with. And the matching funds on this grant application is $7,000. We'll have to have some public engagement sessions. That's very important. These are very competitive grants. So we'll have some public engagement sessions, probably here, one during the day, one in the evening, to allow those people. We may even go to Patriot for one, try to hit another pocket of the county. That has to be done. Then we'll have to have a public hearing before the final grant application is due in November. If it's funded, they're going to make award announcements in either December or January of next year. Have a release the funds process in January, and then you have about a year to work on that plan with the firm to go out and really take into account what the community wants and what you all want to move forward in terms of your planning. So just a very brief overview. Any questions you have for me or anything I can answer for you?
No.
You're still wanting to proceed in this timeline okay with you all?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there's a little, if the income survey wouldn't come back, there's a little gamble there, but I feel pretty confident based on what your numbers are that you probably will be okay.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, and you'll just need to get a committee. I know I talked to Herschel a little bit before, but get that committee to me. Once we do that, I can start, as soon as July, starting that procurement process to get those requests for qualifications sent out for you. And would you rather them come to my office, or do you want them delivered here? I don't think they have to be, I don't know, Garrett, do you think they need to be publicly open? There's no price, it's just qualifications.
I don't think those would need to
Yeah.
be open.
They typically, I didn't think they did, but yeah. So if you want them to be delivered here, or to the county, I can have them delivered to the county, or I can deliver them to my office and distribute them to your committee for you.
That would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier, they just doesn't get, I can be on the lookout for them, and you don't have to assign a person to do that.
That makes more sense to me.
All right, anything else? Good timing, comprehensive plans are becoming very needed, so we'll look forward to working with you guys, and if you get an income survey, fill it out.
Thank you. John or Susan Sattler?
Hi, my name is John Sattler, and I'm here with my wife, Sue. And as you can see on your agenda, I asked for a few minutes of your time to talk about data centers and concerns associated with data centers. And just before I start, to be upfront, Sue and I, we own property here in Switzerland County up on Hickman Road. Our official residence is in Ohio County, but we do spend a fair amount of time out here in Switzerland County as well. So data centers, as you all know, have been in the news a lot, national, state, and more recently there's been a lot of reporting going on what's been happening in Jefferson County. And as I'm sure you all know, people are concerned about data centers, and they're concerned about water usage, about electric usage and impacts on electric utility costs, it's going to drive up your electric bill, et cetera. There's concerns about things like noise pollution, light pollution, et cetera. So recently, especially in light of what has happened or is happening in Jefferson County, I got to thinking about this, and I actually looked at Switzerland County, and I don't propose that I'm any kind of expert on zoning ordinances and whatnot, but I did look at the code. And when I look at the code, it seems to me that it does permit under the heading of at least an enclosed industrial district, if I got that right. It talks about data processing facilities, which I think could be interpreted as allowing data centers. Although I'm sure that at the time the code was written, nobody was thinking of data centers. If you're old like me, data processing is just code for typing on a computer. So, but nonetheless, I did take a look at it, and I did see that the code does address certain things. For example, noise, and there are some specifics associated with noise in there. But after looking into data centers a little bit more, it also seems that I think it would behoove the county and the residents of the county if the commissioners would adopt a temporary moratorium so the county can look at the code and update it to address data centers specifically. Okay, and I think that we can do two things by looking at the code. One is to address these concerns. How can we protect the people and the property of Switzerland County? But the second thing is how can the county benefit? Can we write the code so that the county actually, we can ensure that the county benefits from it? Because one of the other issues associated with data centers, especially on the state level, are all the tax exemptions. How will that impact the county, and what can the county do to work that particular issue? So, for example, one of the things that I'm thinking relative to the concerns about pollution and about utilities and water use and water contamination is, can we add, as I said, specifics related to those items, specific to data centers? But in addition to that, in the permitting process, can the county request or require that anybody who wants to bring in a data center has to provide upfront, as part of the permitting, their plans that specify how they're going to address all of these issues, how they're going to address water usage? Are they going to have a closed system so that they can minimize the amount of water being used? How are they going to address water contamination issues? Noise is a big issue. Light pollution, how are we going to do that? Things like setbacks from roads, et cetera. So I think there's a real opportunity for the county to establish the protocols for people who want to bring in data centers. And part of the permitting issue is that if somebody wants to establish a data center, and if the county is going to ask that they provide these upfront plans, well, you can also ask, I believe, for these people to provide funding so that the county can hire their own consultants to review these particular plans. I don't think it's a stretch of the imagination to think that people who want to build a data center don't have deep pockets. I'm sure they do. So those are some thoughts relative to the ideas concerning, protecting the people, protecting the county. As far as benefits go, mentioned the tax issue. How's that going to impact the county? And if it does impact the county, can the county establish some kind of revenue sharing so that there'll be some direct positive impact? There'll be some amount of jobs, new jobs. My research on data centers, I will admit, it's really questionable, how many jobs there will be. But short of that, revenue sharing would benefit the county as a whole. Can can the county require that there's some kind of consideration, if not requirement, to hire locally, for the jobs associated with a data center. So, that might be another way to approach all this. And then one other thing I forgot to mention, but I do think really is important. One of the concerns that I have, and I think other people share, is data center comes in, builds this big structure, and it functions for a while. What if it becomes obsolete? What if it gets bought out? What if it gets abandoned for some reason? What can the county do to ensure that we just don't have a large vacant facility sitting in the middle of the county? So again, as part of the whole permitting process, zoning process considerations is, can we establish some kind of demolition decommission plan? Some kind of bond that goes with this when the data center is permitted? So these are just some initial thoughts that I had. I wanted to come share, and I appreciate the time. But specifically, the request is, can the commissioners, or will the commissioners please enact a moratorium so that the county can step back and take a look at these issues? I'm sure there's a lot more detail that will go into these things than I presented here in the last 5 minutes, to make sure that, as I said, we protect the property and the people, and the county gets the benefit of the data center coming in. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it.
Appreciate it. I can tell you a few things. The county, prior to the big evolution of data centers in Jefferson County happening and all that, we had already begun the process of revisiting ordinances and whatnot. There's a lot that goes into that.
Yeah.
I can tell you that some of your concerns are environmental concerns, utility concerns, that doesn't fall on the county level. We can put anything we want in our ordinance, but at the end of the day, that's a state level structure. And that opens us up for challenging us in court. If we include utility concerns, environmental concerns, then that technically falls for the state to address those issues when they're building in your area. There's a lot that goes into that. So certainly it's on the table to be looked at. We won't do anything tonight, obviously. Planning and zoning, that falls on planning and zoning to revisit some of that stuff, but it is certainly a topic that's going to be addressed and looked at.
One of the things I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
One of the things I did come across in my research, my looking into this, is a number of the neighboring counties have established some moratoriums. I'm sure you probably know that. And I have seen some, draft revised ordinances that address a lot of these particular topics, and they're pretty interesting. One in particular I'm thinking of is in Franklin County, and they go through a number of the topics that, well, they go through, I think, everything that I mentioned and even more. And frankly, why start from zero if you can take a look at what they have and others have and pick and choose what works for Switzerland County.
Well, I think what is being learned from other counties that did this quickly is data center is a very broad term. So we know that a lot of corporations, large factories, they themselves are data centers because of how much they store. The word that we should be worried about is hyperscale data centers. The one in Jefferson County, 7.2 million. I work for Jefferson County, so I'm extremely familiar with this. 7.2-ish million square foot data center. That's hyperscale. A data center like that can use as much electricity and water as a small town. Obviously, Switzerland County is not going to ever be a candidate for a hyperscale. Smaller centers is certainly a possibility. I can tell you publicly now that nobody has reached out to us or the state of Indiana. That usually starts at state level for solar or data centers. That's not a thing right now. So we'll keep looking at it and address it when we go through our ordinances.
Well, I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Any board reports?
Are the zoning board meetings, are those open to the public also, where we can also address?
They're advertised and open to the public.
Okay, thank you.
For myself.
Anything else from out here? Anybody?
Someone asked when the zoning board meetings
I don't-
are.
It's on a Wednesday night, but I can't remember.
Third Wednesday.
If there's nothing on the agenda, they don't necessarily meet. So you get to talk to the director.
Is that Mark Archer?
Yeah,
Okay. All right, very good, thank you.
The second
When I called
Wednesday.
and asked when our zoning board meetings to bring this up, they said they don't have them unless there's
Unless there's
something on the
something
agenda.
comes up, yeah.
So do we need to call and say we want to be on the agenda and then we'll have a meeting?
They have to have an agenda.
That's what we'll do. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're
You're
welcome.
welcome.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second. All in favor?